2021 at 6 p.m. Call this meeting of the Wellfleet Select Board to order. It will be held via Zoom video conference in accordance with the temporary suspension and enhancement of the open meeting law requirements by Governor Baker. The first item on the agenda is announcements, open session, and public comments. Please note that public comments must be brief, and the board will not deliberate or vote on any matter raised solely during announcements and public comments. Do we have anything? Helen.
You're on mute.
I'm so careful that you don't hear my cats meowing. Sorry. I emailed all of you briefly, and I want to announce that the motion, the traction has been achieved with getting a roundtable meeting with the DCR and the DOT and the Cape Cod Commission and the park. So stay tuned, and it may happen. In other words, finally contact was achieved. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Helen. Anything else? Board, audience? No, not seeing any. Okay. Moving on to business. The first issue of business is dredging. So as I mentioned yesterday, I had been contacted by one of the chairs of the dredging task force asking for a memo authorizing him to represent the town of Wellfleet in any and all matters concerning the dredging project in Wellfleet. I stated I couldn't do that as a single board member, and I could bring it to the board, but upon looking into it, I believe that our harbor master really should be the primary contact point in this situation. That's who his name is on the permits. It all goes through the harbor master's office, and that there's been some issues around having multiple people contact and doing the town's business, kind of on top of each other. And so I think we need some kind of formal chain of command, basically. So basically, I guess my motion would be that I guess I'll make a motion that I move that the harbor master, Will Sullivan, is the primary contact in any and all matters concerning the dredging project in Wellfleet Harbor, and the task force and the Marine Advisory Committee will report to Will, and then Will be the primary contact to report to the town administrator and to the select board. So just to clean things up and formalize this process so that there's not too many cooks in the kitchen dealing with the Army Corps and the engineering company. So, Ryan?
I think you need to rephrase that motion because you just, with that motion, would subordinate the Marine Advisory Committee in its totality to the harbor master. It wasn't specific to dredging for them.
No, I don't think so, because I said the primary contact point in all matters.
No, and then you said in the Marine Advisory Committee will report to Will Sullivan, and
okay, and not all right, yeah, we'll also report to the harbor master as well as the select board. No. Okay, what do you suggest? We can amend that motion.
I'll let Helen. She probably has the same.
Go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So I listened to that, and you're right. You need to have one person who will always be the one person to be contacted, but that one person needs not just to let us know what's happening, but also the task force and the Marine Advisory Committee. Okay? Yeah. Horizontal communication, and that should be in the motion so that we're giving direction to Will Sullivan just to make sure that the Marina Advisory Committee is brought along properly.
That was my intention. I'm sorry if I worded it wrongly. I didn't write it
Yeah.
out. So if you have a better way of phrasing it, or I can say that the harbor master, Will Sullivan, will be the primary contact point in all matters concerning the dredging project in Wellfleet Harbor, working alongside the Marine Advisory Committee and the Dredging Task Force.
And communicate, keep those two committees updated, informed.
I think that's implicit in working alongside, but
Nah.
Well, it is. That's too long of a motion.
okay, fine. And informing and cooperating with those committees. I mean, what do you want it to
There
say?
we go. That's it.
Okay,
Informing, communicating, right. Keeping them up to date so that we don't have,
that's fine.
great.
Okay, do we have a clear motion?
No.
Yes.
Second.
Second, yeah.
Okay, roll call vote.
Janet, I.
Ryan,
Justina, aye.
sorry, Justina.
That's okay.
Ryan, aye.
Michael, aye.
Helen, I.
Okay, motion carries 5-0. Thank you. And I think we can get on to the next order of business here, which is annual town meeting, warrant discussion, and placement. I think the only thing we have left to place is the AgCom thing, which isn't on the current draft, and the budget things, which I don't know. And then, Harry, is there anything else that we're missing?
Well, there is an article out there on permeable reactive barriers on Commercial Street that Justina mentioned last night. And, and I did get a draft of that from Ryan, and I did stick it in a draft warrant, so it's,
Yeah, Justina's is different.
oh, okay, wonderful.
Yep.
There's two now.
No, they're on different things. So-
Yeah. No, I mean two new articles.
Yeah, hold on.
Oh.
And Mike?
Yeah, so
Yeah, so that article, which God knows I'm informed about it, I fixed the summary, if you want to put it in a clunky fashion, because there were things in it that weren't quite, the language in the summary was a little bit disheveled.
what summary to what article?
The permeable barrier pilot experiment.
Okay, but is this a new article, Ryan, or the one that was previously submitted?
It's a revision of that article from a much smaller ask. I was planning on having it discussed on Thursday.
Okay, we can do that because I think Justina's
Yes.
Thursday. Thursday. Let's do them together. That way, if there's someone from wastewater there, they can weigh in and try and convince us it's a good idea to put it on this warrant.
And Hillary. It would be good to have Hillary there too, please.
Okay.
Is there a draft that we will see before Thursday? Because otherwise, I don't know how to get it in front of you guys.
Of which one?
Both.
Well, I've got the one you sent me, so the other one.
Harry, I can have it to you tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Okay. So, do you want to go through the order of things, Harry? And we
Sure, if you
can
like.
talk about the order of placement.
Yep, if you like.
Okay.
Okay, so. Okay, no, there's nothing to look at there. That's all stuff. That's all stuff that's us. So Article 1 was Article 1 and is still Article 1, which is the operating budget. And I think the charter requires it to be first. Article 2 was numbered Article 2 before and still is. And I just moved it. Article 3 is the capital budget. Again, no surprise there. The two enterprise budgets were further down in the warrant, but they've always been numbered 4 and 5. So I moved them to the right chronological or sequential number.
Okay.
Prior year invoices was always numbered Article 6, so now it's in the 6th position. And the same thing with 7, 8, 9, and 10. Police union contract was always numbered 7. It's just been moved into the proper position. Same thing with non-union salary adjustments, additional fire department positions, and funding for paramedic training. Just a note that there's a couple of articles that have a comment that say effect on property taxes. I haven't checked those. I haven't tried to calculate those for other articles. I'm not sure I have the time to do that. Should these all be removed, or is somebody else going to do that, or what's going to happen?
Ellen?
Yeah. Whenever that's available, it is really important to be in the warrant.
Okay.
And I think that it would be great if some one of us, it's not going to be me, I've done a lot of extra work, would look at some of the bigger asks and have that effect on property taxes paragraph. Because I think it's really important that people understand, sometimes it isn't as bad as they think it is, and sometimes it's worse. So
Bear in mind, this has to be in condition for you guys to sign it tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's kind of a thing that that's kind of an arduous process to go and figure out all those things. So,
Okay. So leave them in, what's there, and then perhaps we can get Danny to mention it when he does the articles at town meeting.
Well, I mean, some of them have placeholders in here that don't have dollar amounts.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there aren't enough of me to fix this, is what I'm telling you.
Right. I was hoping somebody else might do it.
Okay, well.
Who is that person?
Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, if I may, I think it's been the tax assessor that's been providing those numbers.
Well, if somebody wants to have that conversation with the assessor's office, that's fine.
Yeah, this is Charlie. Why don't I volunteer to see if I can coordinate that?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Article 10 was always Article 10. Now it's in 10th in line. And here's where things start to change. Article 3B, and I left all of the Article 3, A, B, C, D in the same order. I just moved them into this position. So 3B, the 2 police cruisers, becomes Article 11. 3C has been moved to the capital budget. 3D was a duplicate that was removed. 3E, portable radios, is now Article 12. And we continue in this pattern. 3F becomes 13. 3G is gone. 3H was been gone for a long time. I don't even remember what it was. 3I becomes 14. And 3J becomes 15. Those are the 2 DPW rolling stock articles are next to each other.
Beautiful.
K, L, and M are one of them's gone. They're all gone. N becomes 16. That's Mayo Creek. O is gone. P has replaced the basketball backstops. We can make some changes to this, but I'm just trying to get them in order.
Yeah.
Q has been removed. R has been gone for a long time. I don't remember what it was. S, town hall shelving, has been moved to the capital budget. T, microfilm, has been moved to the capital budget. U, this is to change the rate of local excise tax on short-term rentals, becomes 18. 19 is the last of the number 3 articles. That was the Main Street Route 6 engineering. That was a late add. Article 20, this is the one Ryan sent me on Commercial Street PRB. So this has not been discussed by the board since its earlier version was removed last week.
Okay. Do
So I
we,
don't know if you want to deal with that right now or keep going.
it's in,
Can we deal with it right now, please?
Oh, it would be better to handle both the wastewater
Yeah,
on
let's-
Thursday.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
tomorrow, or
Okay.
Thursday, right?
Yep.
let's do it.
And Ryan, do you feel that the IE should be put in the warrant after the Commercial Street one?
Either's fine. I mean, I don't have a strong preference.
I'm
Okay.
just thinking order-wise
Yep.
to put a placeholder in. I'm sorry that I don't have that revised language, Harry, and I'll get that to you immediately.
Okay, because it's going to require renumbering 30 articles.
We can't put a placeholder in now?
Well, it's still going to require renumbering them. The wastewater treatment plant, the design money, which was 19, is now 21, so it comes right after the Duck Creek PRB one.
Harry, I'm sorry that I don't understand, but if we put a placeholder for the IE, can't we then subsequently renumber, or are you
Yeah, we
saying
can. It's just I'm going to end up renumbering 30 articles to do that.
And
Because
we don't yet know if we're going to put it on or not.
right.
Oh, I
So
see what you're saying.
I'm
Sorry
not
about
gonna.
that.
I'm not going to do work until
Yeah.
I know what to do work. Okay.
Right.
I'm sorry. Slow on the uptake here.
Okay. Article 19 was the Lawrence Road treatment design and construction money. That becomes, I'm sorry, Article 21. I stuck the Chapter 90 article in here. It probably can go anywhere. And the same thing with the accepting the PEG statute and the Shellfish Revolving Fund. The old Article 35 is now Article 25. That was disposal of dredge spoils. It's here because it's, again, these are all finance-related articles. The Wellfleet Harbor Flora and Fauna Survey, which was 42, has now been moved into 26th position. And then the...
Can I interrupt you real quick?
Sure.
Was the capital budget further up? Like,
It's Article 3.
okay. Yeah.
Oh,
the-
yes. Yes.
Okay.
The CPA articles 21 through 26 are here in this section. They've just been renumbered 27 through whatever the end of it is, but their order hasn't changed. Yeah, that's the last community preservation one. Disposition of town property. We've got the one near Kincaid Street was Article 32. Now it falls in position 33. And the disposition of those two parcels to the Conservation Commission was Article 34 and miraculously is still Article 34. So that's the one of a few. High Toss Road, I stuck in unclassified. I changed the title, by the way, to accept layout of High Toss Road instead of just High Toss Road. Article 36 is to just amend the vote from 2 years ago about the underground fuel tanks. That probably, well, I left it in unclassified because I didn't know what to do with it. And then we get bylaws and initiative petitions. And these are not in any particular order, but they're all grouped in this section. So we've got the real estate transfer fee was 31, now is 37. Prevailing wage was 36 and now is 38. I have a comment there too on, I'm lacking a summary on.
Yeah. I sent it to you.
Okay, I'll have to go look for it. So prevailing wage is another initiative petition. Here's the agricultural thing Mike sent me. I changed the very beginning of that, Mike, to say to see if the town will vote to authorize instead of what you had.
Yeah, that's fine.
But so this is, you guys have not seen this language. This is the old Article 38, but it's entirely new text.
I read it. Mike sent it.
Yes. Okay.
So do you want to do that right now, or do you want to
Sure.
board?
What?
I don't think
Yes,
Justina
yes.
it's in your email, Justina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and there's some related documentation. I don't know if you guys got that. Sorry, I sent it to Harry earlier, and then I thought I should probably send it to the board because I didn't know if it was going to get in here or not. And so it's in here. Yeah, as we've talked about before, this would basically have the select board create the actual charge for the commission and its composition, purpose, duties, and responsibilities at a later date. So this would be the creation of this would be to authorize the creation of the Agricultural Commission. These are created through a vote at town meeting. That's standard. I don't know how the rest of the board.
So are you asking us to recommend, to insert and recommend?
Insert and recommend, or take 2 votes. I don't care.
No, I don't see anything wrong with it. That's what we've talked about it. So I would move to place,
Hold on.
is Ryan saying something? All right, go
Hold on.
ahead.
Go ahead, Ryan.
So is Helen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I've already said this before, so I won't say too much. I'm uncomfortable with the overlap with the SAB. And I do think that, I mean, if we wanted to create one, we could just create one by fiat. It does not need to go to a town meeting vote, regardless of what is standard or not. There are towns that have right to farm that do not have an agricultural commission. And I would just want to see if we have enough people to serve on it, and that we can minimize the overlap. Thank you.
Well,
Mike?
Helen. Yep.
Yeah, so in the summary, first of all, remember select board, not board of selectmen,
Oh, yeah.
please. And then really in here should be something which is pretty radical, which is if you have an agricultural commission and the Board of Health, that's an applicant who, wants to do, for whatever reason, is going before the Board of Health. The Board of Health has to send it to the Agricultural Commission. It's not just if there's a grievance or a, argument. They have to do that, which adds another step to the applicant's process with the Board of Health that's onerous. And I also very much, having thought about it more, having thought about what Ryan has said and just repeated, thank you, I agree with him. So if you put some reference to that mandate in the summary, it will give people a better sense of what it is they're voting for. All the rest of it is true. And I originally felt supportive of it until I learned that thing, that there's that mandate.
Helen, it's a formality in the right to farm declaration that the AgCom doesn't have to act on it, and there has to be an agreed upon date. If there's a complaint, it's going to be sent to the Agricultural Commission, and the Agricultural Commission would make recommendations. That's all.
Well, that's different.
It's not radical. I would not characterize it as radical. Also, I just want to point out that this isn't a zero-sum game. I mean, there's intersection and overlap in boards and committees all the time that have intersecting interests. And so this not having any statutory or regulatory authority essentially is an advisory board. And I don't see how this in any way is a detriment to the charge of the Shellfish Advisory Board, which is quite specific. And there's barely any overlap other than encouraging the pursuit and promotion of agricultural-based opportunities, which I don't think is the charge of the Shellfish Advisory Board at all. It's certainly not listed as their charge. So.
No, but Mike, I take your point. In other words, we have That is to say, the select board as Shellfish Regulatory Board, it's not written anywhere, but we always wait to hear what they recommend on regulations, which frankly they draft also. But my point here is, it really bothered me when I learned that automatically, not just if there's a grievance,
No,
the Board of Health has to check it out and send it to the Ag Commission, which has to also check it out and then send it back to the Board of Health. There may be no problem.
Can
Okay.
we scroll down to the right to farm declaration at the bottom where it says conflict resolution or whatever it is? Resolution of disputes.
Here we go. B.
The Board of Health, except in any cases of imminent danger, shall forward a copy of the grievance to the Agricultural Commission. There has to be a grievance to send it to the Board of Health, to the Ag Commission. This actually takes a little bit of a off of the Board of Health, okay? Because it gives the Agricultural Commission an opportunity to make recommendations to the Board of Health.
Okay, so this is different from the state, what the state suggested, and thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, it's not everything. It's only when a complaint is lodged with the Board of Health and file a grievance. This is the part B of resolution of disputes. So part A is any person who seeks to complain about the operation of a farm, notwithstanding. And this is really the primary function of an agricultural commission. I mean, if you look at, what their primary charge is in every document and in other towns that also have shellfish advisory boards, including Dennis, Orleans has a shellfish advisory panel, Truro, they're not having problems with intersecting interests, and Barnstable also, and also the thing that is the primary function of this is mediation, and that's and in the end, anything that comes to the select board or the Board of Health, they're the board charged with making the decision. So in essence, yes, you might get two divergent recommendations on something maybe to do with agriculture. But is that really a bad thing? Does the board not feel able to sort through two divergent recommendations and make a decision? I just don't see the
You mean the Board of Health?
Huh?
You mean the Board of Health?
Even to the select board so this is speaking to Ryan's concern too, of the overlap between the Shellfish Advisory Board and the Agricultural Commission. I see them as serving different functions that may have some intersecting interests. But should stuff come to the select board, I think, it's not a zero-sum game, like one outweighs the other. We're just getting information from two groups, which we often do with Natural Resources Advisory Board, the Energy and Climate Committee. They have intersecting, goals and issues, but they don't make any decisions. The boards make the decisions. So these are advisory. So it's not a zero-sum game to me. I think this is completely in harmony, and it does in other towns. I'm
confused. I'm confused because the Board of Health or the Zoning Board of Appeals can make decisions.
Yeah, and the select
board can't make any decisions about the decisions of either one of those boards. We can't.
I'm not talking about that. So I'm talking about Ryan's concern now of it being an intersecting or overlapping issue. I mean, primarily the Ag Commission is going to be making recommendations to the Board of Health anyways, not to the select board. But should they decide to promote an agricultural event or something of that nature, they could bring that to the select board, but in an advisory capacity. It's not one thing or the other, or that they will have issues with each other. I don't see where the issue is, I guess, where it really lies. What is the concern, I guess, is the question. That what would happen? Justina?
Yeah, I also, just hearing this too, there's more agriculture going on in town than shellfishing. I mean, we do need the Shellfish Advisory obviously can't represent the farmers. So I think it's clear that if we're going to have right to farm, we need the structure beyond shellfishing interests. So I don't know how that fits into people's concerns, but I think there has to be some sort of teeth to the right to farm, or else it's just a nice slogan. And I think Mike's done a good job of defining a structure. And so there's that.
Yeah, to the point that there's land-based agriculture. I mean, that's going on all over town. Even
there's quite a bit of it.
Commercial, even small-scale commercial is still considered commercial. If you're selling eggs if you're selling at a farmer's market, they consider that commercial agriculture. If you're selling food to marketplaces or anywhere else, they consider that commercial agriculture. If you have, chickens with eggs that you're selling in any capacity, it's considered commercial agriculture. So most of the disputes that happen with agriculture are in land-based situations. Not to say that they all are, but the primary function here is this sort of promotion and encouraging the pursuit, and then dispute mediation. And the Shellfish Advisory Board does not do that. So I'm wondering what really is the concern, that what would happen to the Shellfish Advisory Board if an agricultural commission were to come to be. I don't understand where the downside is, that where things would take anything away from the Shellfish Advisory Board. I don't understand that. Maybe somebody can chime in. I think Nancy's got her hand up.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep.
So my concern is that, yes, Shellfish Advisory talks about, under the water, let's say, or intertidal stuff. And I don't, this has evolved a lot, and I've learned more about it as it's gone on. But the Agricultural Commission, responsible for aquaculture in this town, that's where I could see some conflict with Shellfish Advisory. Shellfish Advisory membership is already heavy with grant holders participation and not with wild harvesters. And Barnstable does not have a ag commission. They do have a right to farm. At least that's what the constable there, the Shellfish constable there, told me.
Right.
We have the largest. We're the largest aquaculture town in the state by acres cultivated and grant holders. We have 136 grant holders here. And what I worry about is that now you have two boards that are advising the select board on decision making for what happens in the harbor. And if it's skewed too much to farmers, my job is also to uphold the wild shellfishing here. And I'm seeing a little bit of this start to happen right now. So I am concerned about farmers starting to carry more influence and weight on advisory boards that are telling the select board, advising the select board on future intertidal uses and stuff. And so that's my concern about it, is that maybe it should just be for this first iteration, agriculture, land-based agriculture. I know I'm doing an about face in the beginning. I didn't understand a lot about it. I didn't understand about the Ag Commission. So I thought it would be important to put aquaculture in there. And in the right to farm, maybe it does. But I get conflicted when it comes to having a lot more representation from farmers in a town that also spoke with the state today. We're one of the very few towns in the Commonwealth that has any wild oyster fishing during Vibrio season. And I don't want anything to change that. You know, we are beautiful because of our diversity. And so,
I understand what you're saying, except that there is no, first of all, aquaculture takes place on land also. So there's land-based parts of the industry. So you have, so first of all, to be clear, the amount of acres, how many acres are in the harbor, of intertidal acres total?
I don't know.
There's thousands of acres in the harbor, and there's 280 acres of agricultural land. The state of Massachusetts dictates, and also the select board can, the use of the harbor, but you can't materially impact the wild fishery in grant production. And there's nothing in here. First of all, the Shellfish Advisory Board, I would encourage wild fishermen to join that board because they can.
It's hard. It's
hard for anyone to do it. I'm just saying that the opportunity for representation's there. This does not impede on their representation, and their primary function is not to compete. And in Dennis, they have a Shellfish Advisory Board and a agricultural commission. In Dennis, also, it's just worth noting that both these Right to Farm and the Ag Commission were unanimously passed at their town meeting. And I just think that there's some idea that one thing will adversely impact the other. And in essence, it's two committees with two different charges, and the charge isn't set until the select board sets that charge. So that would be a discussion for another day, I guess, as to what the actual charge would be.
And just to give you some feedback from Dennis, the constable there tells me that their ag committee is pretty much defunct and they haven't done anything ever with aquaculture topics.
Okay.
So.
Yep, go ahead, Helen. Helen, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. Something that hasn't been said, which is my main concern, is that I have been on the ZBA when there was a grievance between an abutter and people that had, actually, they were shellfishing people and they were, culling in their garage. And they also had a huge flock of chickens. And the ZBA did a very, very good job doing exactly what is described here for the Agricultural Commission, with the difference that they could then vote on it and make a decision. But it was a very mediating kind of situation. I've also sat in Board of Health meetings where there were grievances from abutters, for example, and the Board of Health did a very good job. And in both cases, there was good staff support, mediating and supporting what we already have in our zoning bylaws and Board of Health regs, which basically supports farming and has for a long time. I am, and here's the punchline, very concerned about adding another layer of bureaucracy to working these things out, when whoever has a grievance or just wants to farm, if they have to go to the ZBA or the Board of Health, they have to do that anyway, and that's time consuming. Thank you.
Okay, this would potentially avoid that going to the ZBA, but go ahead, Justina.
Yeah, I think last night's discussion of the transfer tax was interesting because we talked about the changing real estate market and the 27% increase in 1 year of real estate prices. I think that we have to be aware of the realities of the changes that our town is going through and the change in dynamics that brings. And I think that we have a lot of young people and other people in town who are pursuing agricultural pursuits, and we cannot assume these will necessarily always be supported. And I support what Mike's doing with the right to farm bylaw. It is a bylaw that other communities are adopting, and I think that having a commission, we need it. Otherwise, it's a nice sounding slogan, right to farm, and I think that we should give it our support. And I think that in a town with skyrocketing real estate prices, we need to support a diverse community who, high property values often create differing values. Some people want to spend a lot on their homes and renovate them and make them very fancy, and maybe other people want to have chickens. So there's going to be natural tensions, and a commission offers the ability for a community to work out its various interests. And I think that this is a specialized kind of competing interest, whereas the ZBA is quite broad in comparison. So we've been debating for a while. I would suggest that we call the question and see how the board feels.
I just have one more point, and then Ryan, is right now we're probably practicing more agriculture in the town of Wellfleet than we've had in 100 years, and I think people need to know that this is an agricultural community. And in 1985, it was encoded into our health regulations rather discreetly, but it says to the effect that in order to maintain the character of Wellfleet as a rural community, the town of Wellfleet allows, and then it goes through the allowances in our Board of Health regulations. So essentially, we are basically placing that into our general bylaws. This doesn't change any of our permitting or regulatory statutes. It doesn't supersede any bylaws, regulation, rules, or permits. And Justina's right. I mean, we have this changing community, and the reason why Right to Farm and agricultural commissions are created is to deal with those types of tensions in demographic shifts and increases in real estate value that threaten the agricultural existence of the area. I mean, that's why the model Right to Farm bylaw was created. That's why agricultural commissions were created. And to that effect, I think this is a very important thing to have. And I hope that the board supports it. And I from what I've heard from people in town, that that this is widely supported. So I understand that there's some concern. I think the concern about SAB isn't shared by the Shellfish Advisory Board generally. Maybe some members, I won't speak for everyone or anything, but I think, this one doesn't take from the other. And I think it's important to have this in dealing with, the fact that, we're having $1 million houses sold in neighborhoods that have never seen that before. And so I think this is part of this process and why it exists. So I hope that the board would support this. And Ryan, go ahead.
So the initial charge of the SAB is to make a study of existing shellfish conditions and to plan for the future improvement and development of the industry. For the Agricultural Commission, Town Wellfleet encourages the pursuit and promotion of agriculture and agricultural-based economic opportunities. That is the same exact charge. I would recommend that their scope be limited to land-based and land-based aspects of aquaculture. And that way there's no overlap with SAB in the harbor itself.
That's something that I would totally be open to discussing when we create a charge, if this were to pass. This isn't the charge. This is...
Well, if we're going to create a charge on the fly, what we should do is not have it as a town meeting vote until there's a charge.
Well, I disagree. I think we have to have this on the warrant with the right to farm article. I think it's important. And I think it's the standard format for creating these. It creates them as a will of the voter, and as part of the process of right to farm declaration. So I disagree with that. There was a charge. I was comfortable with the charge. In fact, I think that the majority of the board supported that charge that was originally drafted. I changed it so that the board could negotiate that charge in the future as a compromise to try and get broader support. But this does not. It says to encourage the pursuit and promotion of agriculture and agricultural-based opportunities, not to plan for them, Ryan. So it is a different charge.
It's the same charge.
In your opinion, it's the same. This isn't the charge, anyways. This is.
I mean,
part
Mike,
of the Ag Commission.
I think
not all of what
Mike,
they
you've spoken on this enough. Can we call the question and move on? Because
Yes. Call the question.
okay, I call the question.
Second.
Is this to place it? Let's
Place.
to place. Okay.
And which is it? The commission, Article 39?
It's
Yes,
the
we already
commission.
did the right to farm.
Right to farm's already done.
No.
Yep.
Okay, roll call vote.
Janet, I.
Justina, I.
Ryan, no.
Michael, I.
Helen, no.
Okay. Okay, motion carries 3-2 to place it. Okay, I move to recommend the article for Agricultural Commission.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Janet, I.
Justina, I.
Ryan, no.
Michael, I.
Helen, no. And can I change my vote on the first
Yes.
motion? I'm going to say, yeah, let's place it and listen to what the people have to say about it. They're not going to really get it, but that's okay. Thank you.
Mike, question. It says here, planning board recommends, SAB recommends, zoning board recommends, board of health recommends.
That's somebody else put all that in there.
Yeah, all those boards have to weigh in on this because it
Yeah,
affects all.
my question is, have they?
No.
No.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. I think the planning board is going to do it
Taking it up on
tomorrow.
I'm
Yeah.
speaking in the present, Helen.
no
Present tense.
recommended yet.
No.
Okay. I just want it to be accurate. That's all. Okay.
So
Article-
1 to place and 3-2 to recommend.
Yep.
Okay.
Article 38A, the right to farm bylaw is now Article 40.
Okay.
And they're done that. Article 39, expanding residential property tax exemption now falls in position 41. Like generally okay. Home rule petition again on, this is the Blakely one, is now Article 42 instead of 40. And Article 43 is the vote to recommend. And I have changed the comment so that the article number in the comment matches the Blakely article in the warrant.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, if you're editing this right now, it's not to support the home rule petition,
Okay, what is it to support then?
to support the request for curb cut.
So What do we want this to say?
The home rule petition was supposed to be sent to town council, at this point, 4 weeks ago, to see if it was a proper use of a home rule petition. So that was placed, and then this article is recommended by Senator Sears' office and Representative Peake's office, as in case town council rules that that you can't use a home rule petition the way it's being used in this warrant. And I've been asking administration for a long time at this point. And yeah.
I thought we got that information emailed to us.
No.
So what should it read, Ryan?
It's in the motion itself to support the Blakely's request for a curb cut.
Okay.
Then why do we need a summary? I mean, the article's clear as can be.
Yeah, let's skip it. Oh, summary as above. How about that?
No, how about just no summary?
Okay.
Gone.
Yeah.
2 less lines in this 50-page document.
It's going to turn into a haiku.
For Article 44, Affordable Housing Trust, this is the second article that happens to have fallen in the right position right from the start. So it was and still is Article 44. And the same thing with Article 45, the accessory dwelling unit article. And Article 46, the petitioned one. So this is the petition one. Their position has not changed. And we're almost done. Article 47, the animal control bylaw, was originally Article 47A for some reason, which escapes me, but now it's just Article 47. And I think
it's good to go.
I think 48 through 53, their numbering has not changed, and they're the articles that are always at the end.
So wait a minute, Harry.
Yep.
I'm looking, hold on. Can you scroll back up to the animal control, please? I thought that anything that was new language would be in bold or otherwise.
This is a complete drop-in forklift replacement.
No, but we're amending existing bylaw.
Yeah, but see what I see.
Oh, I see. The whole thing is.
Yeah, if you get up to the top, you will see. To delete.
Got it.
By deleting Article 3, Section 25, and by amending Article 50, by striking the existing text and replacing it with the following. I tried to do that add delete, but it just ended up being a hash.
This is so much better.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Justina's hand's up. Is it still up, Justina?
No, I don't know how to get it to erase that. Sorry.
Okay. So
You did it.
So that's it as far as reordering the articles. There is some flexibility to move it around, but at some point we have to generate a table of contents for it.
Sure.
And that's something that is probably in the next 24 hours.
Harry, are you going to take out those strike-throughs in the animal control article?
What strike-throughs?
There are a few.
Don't believe so.
In the previous version.
See, in the previous version, I had strike-throughs for the entire thing that was being deleted. And
No, you just passed one. Never mind. This is just tidy up.
Yep.
We just passed one. Let's not talk about it. Waste time on it. It's there. You'll see it. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. That was a yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's just
some of the captions are underlined that I don't care about.
Harry. So
yes.
The order goes AgCom, right to farm, then home rule petition. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then ADU bylaw after that.
Yeah, I believe so. I didn't really change the order of those.
They're bylaws. They need to be in the same place.
No, I know. No, that was the order that I was hoping they would fall in, so that's fine.
Okay, so
I don't need to make any changes.
okay. Yeah, right in the middle is the Affordable Housing Trust bylaw, but that's all right.
Yeah, that fits in there too. I just think that it's a lot of the same
Okay.
interests that are a lot of young people that may not, stick around for a whole town meeting. So,
Okay, so that's what I've done to the warrant. This is near complete now. I think the only things that need to be fixed are whether those two wastewater articles are going to go in and exactly what they're going to say if they do. And whether Charlie is able to rustle up somebody to make some guesstimates as to the effect on the tax rate of some of these. And that's pretty much it for the text. Now you still have 6 appendices: operating, capital, marina, water, and a list of wages and salaries.
How ready are they?
Well, operating, capital, marina, and water, I think, are ready. I have no idea what the status of the wages and salaries one is. That normally comes from accounting, and I have no idea what its status is.
So, hi, this is Charlie. So I did, on that note, I talked to Lisa Sauvé today. I mean, it's a bit of a struggle getting a backup going. We're still trying to get her a computer. But anyway, I talked to Lisa today. She's going to review the budget article, Harry, that you have in Dropbox.
Yep.
And just she'll do that tomorrow, just to see if there's anything glaring there. It's going to be far from perfect, but she'll give it a shot. Tomorrow, for Thursday night, she's going to look at the existing fiscal year for budgetary transfer to see if we can do something quick and dirty just to populate something for those. And then I did talk to her about the wage issues, and we'll just have to have the articles in their broad presentation with as there are today, and then over the next 2 weeks, Lisa and I will have to work with department heads to try to analyze that very issue.
Yep. I mean, I'm glad Lisa's going to look at the budget, because the more eyes on that, the better off we are.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, we're still, this is going to be the best we can do in an uncertain world.
Yeah. Now, you don't have anything in the fiscal plan for the non-union wage adjustments, right?
I do not know what those numbers are, and some of them may be baked into the department budgets.
Yeah.
So if there are existing contracts, they probably are. So that's usually limited to people that either don't have a contract and have negotiated with the town administrator, or are having a contract extended, and I just don't have a handle on who they are.
All right.
Or if there are any. There may be none.
All right. Maybe Harry, through the board, maybe we could talk about that at our 10 o'clock meeting tomorrow.
Certainly.
I'd appreciate that.
So anything you like.
And by the way, God bless Harry.
Yeah, thanks again, Harry. And anything that's sort of altered in the budget as we find out more information can be amended on the floor of town meeting for the vote. So if it's not perfect now, we can get it there between now and town meeting, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
Rebecca, you have your hand up?
I do. I just wanted to let you know that I actually did email you the attorney's response on April 30th. So I'm going to resend it just so you guys have it on that home rule petition.
Yeah, I saw that. I did get that.
Yeah, I sent it to all of you, but I'll resend it just so you have it.
Hmm.
Okay. What's your pleasure, Mike?
Well, I think that's all we can do tonight.
I can.
Go ahead, Harry.
You had asked about the water enterprise budget last night.
Oh, yeah.
I can show that to you if you like.
Yeah, that's fine. we placed it as it was, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked normal to me. I had one question about why here we go. Since you're offering, let's just drag this meeting on for another 3 hours.
Please no.
I'm joking. I'm really joking. Here we have contract services. So, contract services, Whitewater is expensive and it's worth it.
Yep.
But why has this gone up so much? I'm not complaining.
Well,
I just wondered.
there was upward pressure when I was town administrator, so you get 5 years of that. So I'm not surprised.
Okay. I just was wondering if there were any services. I'm not complaining. I'm just wondering.
Yeah, and I have not had a chance to sit down with Jim Hood and find out what, you know.
I do know that at a certain point, they very reasonably and necessarily were going to book more hours from Whitewater. And that was a very good way to have even more attention paid. So it may just be that. In fact, I think.
Well, also, if I may, Helen, Mike, through you to Helen,
Yep.
Roy Mayer left, and he was always going above and beyond. And the Whitewater contract actually, it may surprise you, is quite lean the last time I looked at it. And so eventually, you know, the magic employee who pitches in and goes above and beyond the call of duty left and was no longer available. So,
well, we have somebody else doing that now.
Okay, yeah.
we do, but not everybody was willing to, quote unquote, help Wellfleet out. So the numbers are probably simply more realistic.
Yeah.
That's
the
fine.
The salient feature here is that the total expense budget is, $285,700, and the estimated revenue is $201,500. So there's, $84,214 worth of support that's got to come from general revenues, and that's been a trend that's been present for, more than 5 years. So it shouldn't come as a surprise at this point.
No, and it's just the way it's going to go because it was the way it was set up originally. And, acceptance of that, I think, is very healthy. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's that piece. The other thing that's probably worth taking a quick look at is the capital budget.
So we haven't approved the water system budget.
No, you haven't.
The enterprise fund.
Yeah. Because, it was on our agenda and then they asked to have it taken off a while ago.
So is it presentable now?
Well, and Helen, I can tell you one of the reasons that it went a little higher is because about a year and a half, maybe even 2 years ago now, we hired a billing company, Penachuk.
Oh, right.
So that's part of our expense that goes there now. So we're working with both of those companies, and they're supposed to be working cohesively, but we're working on that. Justina was right. Once Roy left, it's been kind of trying to figure out who's in charge, how to get them where we need them, when to get them into Wellfleet when we need them. So that's a battle we're working on right now. But that's why one of the expenses went up so much is because Penachuk does have a contract. We do have a contract with Penachuk.
And I was very persuaded that was a good idea. And I'm sorry that I forgot that.
It is. It was a good idea only because they're much better at getting bills out for random little things that probably would be forgotten in the water office. So that it brings in more revenue than we would have just alone in that office, which it is a good thing.
So do you guys want to act on the water enterprise budget, or do you just want to just take a glance at it like we've done?
I would prefer to get it done so that we don't.
Yeah, and I took a good look at it and just poked the parts that I didn't quite get.
So if I could speak on the enterprise budget.
Yes.
So the Water Commission has been talking about having we've even spent money on consultants to develop a new financial model for the system. Right now, enterprise budget is not supposed to operate routinely in the deficit. And I'm uncomfortable that there's been no effective action on the part of the Water Commission to materially address any aspects of the shortfall in the Water Enterprise Fund. It doesn't have to be a whole lot, but I'd like to see some progress being made at this point, especially considering the town has spent money on consultants to look at this issue. Thank you.
Mike, through you to Ryan. Ryan, I don't believe they've hired a consultant. Do you know for a fact that they've
for it multiple times at this point?
They've discussed it, but the consultant was worked out between wastewater and water, and wastewater currently is using the consultant, and the fees are being
Ryan,
spent that way.
To my knowledge, they haven't hired one. And I believe that Jim Hood, the chair of the Water Commission, in addition to all the things that it takes to run the system, was diverted to being very busy on Lawrence Road getting that grant. So there's only so much that can get done by a volunteer. So I think that they definitely have worked on interviewing consultants for the to redo the financial model and getting an RFP done, but Lawrence Road actually took a lot of work, and that's on top of running the water system, which in most towns there's a staff person to do that. We have nobody to run the system. The volunteers go well above and beyond, in my opinion, what's fair to ask volunteers to do. So they have been busy doing a lot of work.
To that point of the enterprise fund, I mean, the issue has always been, as far as I've known, that water systems are expensive. We created an enterprise fund. There's not enough people hooked up to the water system. The only way to balance it is to dramatically, severely raise the rates of water for those people that are on the current water system.
Yep.
Which I think it's kind of an intractable problem until we get more people hooked up to the system. If we're going to be and whether maybe we should be using an enterprise fund at all, because Ryan is correct.
Yeah.
To that point that
point of order.
We're supposed to self-fund.
Point of order.
Helen, what is the point of order? We're discussing the operating budget of
Yes,
the thing. So I'm speaking, so I prefer not to be interrupted unless I'm off topic. Am I off topic?
It seemed to me we were getting off topic, and all of this is worth discussing, but it's not about the numbers that we see before us. That was my only point.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
It's about the enterprise fund.
It's about the fact that we're using an enterprise fund and it's running in deficit. So if we're discussing their enterprise fund, I mean, how can we not discuss the numbers that are, I mean, the reason why it's in deficit? I mean, of course we can. The reason it's in deficit is because there's not enough people hooked up to the water system to cover the costs of operating a water system. And until there's more people hooked up, or we move it out of an enterprise fund, we're going to have an enterprise fund that's in deficit unless we raise the fees on people for water quite dramatically to the point where water would be very expensive for everyone on that system. And I don't think that's what they signed up for. There's an agreed upon cost. Helen?
Yes, and that is the normal way in which particularly municipalities and places with, not at this point, but very soon in the future, like in the next 40 or 50 years, that resource will be limited. And it happened to Truro, and it happened to Provincetown, and it can happen here. But anyway, my point is that there are a number of ways that the water commissioners can meet their expenses. And what has been obvious ever since the first large expansion in the early 90s when I was around for that, was that a part of this would always have to be covered outside of it being an enterprise fund. And even after the enterprise fund was created, because at first there was no enterprise fund. The state said that a water system, with or without an enterprise fund, should be covering its own costs with its fees and its hookup fees. And the water commissioners decided not to do that. And that is the only thing I was making a point of order on, because this is a water commissioner decision. And what we're talking about right now, certainly, are these figures and not anything that we can decide on in terms of how they should or shouldn't be getting money for themselves. Thank you. That was my point.
So over time, just about everything increases in cost. It's pretty routine for a water system to have occasional small increases of the cost of water. Rebecca, has there ever been an increase in the rate to your knowledge?
Yes, it goes up 2 to 3% every year,
Okay,
the usage rate. Every November it goes up.
okay,
That is in fact
Well-
reflected in my water bill, so that's a correct
okay.
statement.
All right, that answers
also-
that question. So that's fine. I'll approve the budget if somebody wants to make the motion.
I move that we approve the water, let's see, what's the technical term for this article?
Water enterprise budget, we'll call it that.
I move that we approve the water enterprise budget as printed in Appendix D.
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 Second.
D is in dog.
D.
Second.
David. D. Dog.
Okay,
Second, please.
Second,
roll call vote.
Janet, I.
Justina, I.
Brian, I.
Michael, I.
Helen, I.
Motion carries 5-0.
Is that a place or a recommendation?
I move to place.
To approve the budget. So now we should place and
Yeah.
recommend.
Yeah, on the warrant. It's a warrant article as well.
Okay, I move to place and recommend. Can we do it together?
Yes.
Guys? I move to place and recommend article, what is it again?
Don't use a number, just use
Okay, article, the Water Enterprise Fund, Appendix D. I move to recommend and place it.
Second. Roll call vote, please.
Janet, excuse me, Janet, I.
Justina, I.
Brian, I.
Michael, I.
Helen, I.
Okay,
Okay.
motion carries 5-0.
Okay. While I have you trapped in this meeting,
Haha.
let me close this one first. Close. Open. Where is C? Marina Enterprise Fund. There's not a lot here in terms of a surprise. The numbers work out about the same as they always have. And you'll see that there is a deficit of $16,800, but we have always transferred $2,000 from the Waterways Fund, $10,000 from the Beach Fund, and $5,000 from the Shellfish Fund, which would balance this with $178 left over. So I have planned for those transfers on the assumption that that's what the board's pleasure will be.
Can we hear from Nancy on the Shellfish Fund?
Go ahead, Nancy.
Hi, can you see me? Sorry, I have to let it down. So basically, Suzanne and I pay for the rental of our office, and because it is a Marina Enterprise building, we pay rent to to the Marina Enterprise budget. So she pays the lion's share of it, and I pay $5,000.
Okay.
There's talk of changing it, but probably.
So, do we have to make a motion to approve the transfers?
No, that'll be in the motion under the article will be to make those 3 transfers. So it's really, place the article, recommend the budget, or recommend the article.
Okay, I move to
But that's where the money's coming from.
I move to place and recommend the Marina Enterprise budget on the annual 2021 town meeting warrant.
Second,
Second.
Okay, roll call vote.
Janet, I.
Christina, I.
Brian, I.
Michael, I.
Ellen, I.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay. One more. Capital budget. This is all I have. It's a little sparse. I'm assuming that we will raise and appropriate for shelving, microfilming, and the town hall railing. Perhaps we will find some money somewhere that we can fund that another way. But basically, I've moved into this, the command car at the fire chief's suggestion, and I've moved in the shelving and the microfilming, and I had previously moved in the fixing the town hall railing because I couldn't see borrowing $6,000 to fix a railing. So that's all I have in this budget. I don't know if there are other items that should be in here, but this is all I got. I have not tried to match this up with the capital improvement plan. The shellfish pickup truck is in here, Nancy.
Nancy, you got your hand up?
Yeah, sorry. So my question is, the other thing that I had provided you with, you being the town administrators that are functioning, is for the $8,000 seasonal part-time deputy. And I don't know, that used to be, I believe, it's a separate article, and I don't know where it went, and I don't know if it should come from here. But when I provided the documentation to both Chief Polly and then to Charlie, I had that coming out of the Shellfish Fund as well.
Okay, but that would be in the operating budget.
Okay,
This is just capital. This is just buying big stuff.
okay, thanks, sorry.
We can look and see if it is there. I just don't know.
What's the budget line
That
number?
would be great to look at it later, but I won't interrupt you now, thanks.
Okay.
All right.
It's unclear to me, the town hall railing, is that outdoors?
Yeah,
It's fine.
I don't know
No,
that
it's the one
it is.
behind that the commission, I guess, is putting in that you guys agreed to.
No, I know. I just couldn't. Looked fine to me. But whatever.
And to answer Nancy's question, that position is included in our operating budget.
And you
Thank
will.
you very much.
You will see a transfer from the Shellfish Fund to the operating budget to partially fund the Shellfish Department operations. So this is
Sounds great.
what I have in the way of capital requests. If there's some other stuff that should be on here, it would be nice to know about it. But this is the extent of my knowledge.
Thank you.
So do you want to act on this budget?
So I move to approve, insert, and recommend Appendix B capital budget into the annual 2020 town meeting warrant.
Second,
Roll call vote.
Janet, I.
Christina, I.
Brian, I.
Michael, I.
Ellen, I.
Okay, motion carries 5-0.
Okay. So that's all I have for you tonight in the way of finances. I will tell you the changes that I have made to the operating budget since you last saw it were to, number one, verify that the body camera money was in the police department operating budget. I removed $5,000 from the emergency management budget, which was with the approval of the police chief. And I discovered a discrepancy between the county retirement assessment and the amount that had been put in as the town administrator's budget. And the TA's budget was 53,000 and change too high. That's an assessment we get from county retirement, and it's a number I had from Miriam, which I think is a good number. So I reduced that from $1,576,101 to $1,522,803. It also happens to match the number in the cherry sheet, which also suggests that it's correct. So I made those three changes. So those are the only changes I've made to the budget since you last did anything with respect to it.
Okay, so we found $53,000.
Yep. So I'm inching closer to a solution.
Okay.
So should we make a motion on those budgets as they were amended?
I think we have to do the overall.
You know, I'm going to suggest that in the end that you take one vote on the operating budget, because there's a whole bunch of things that I suspect that you've probably approved, but I don't know about it, like the moderator's budget, the constable's budget, the audit budget, the select board budget.
Yeah, we didn't cover those at all yet.
I mean, so, and what I did just so I could get a total was I just cribbed the numbers from the town administrator's budget and stuck them in the selectman's budget so I could have a total. So basically it's the administration, the general government part of the budget that I think you guys really haven't looked at.
Should we do that right now?
Sure.
Okay, let's do it.
Open. Appendix A, operating, 5:18, 1 p.m. So that's right after I fixed this stuff. Okay. This is a long piece, so.
Harry.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you.
Harry. Seriously.
Yeah, I'm gonna shrink this down a tiny now. No, I'm not. Okay. You can see the town administrator and select board side of it.
Yep.
Mine's obscured by video. So where I have a to-do in column L, it just means that I don't know that you've looked at those departments. So there's very little in these things that's mysterious or represents big changes until you get down to 135 accounting. And you'll see that the delta there on the total budget is it's $92,000 in salary and $28,000 in expense. I suspect that was built into the budget to cover the work we're going to have to do to deal with the present accounting deficiencies.
Yes, that's what it was for. It was to pay for Lisa Souvet for a year.
Yep. That's kind of really the only biggie in this thing at all. Treasurers, let me just back up a little bit. So that's, so for example, the assessor's office is, those salaries went up a bit too, and I'm not quite sure why. So maybe we want to hold on to the assessors and find out what's behind that. I just don't know. But if you look at it from the current fiscal year, it's 128,000 in salaries, and now it's 143,000. I don't know whether that reflects staffing or what it reflects. And
this is Charlie. So what I'm thinking is on the overall town budget is Lisa Sauvé is going to take a scan at each line item, just to see if there's something unusual compared to what Heather had in a different folder. And maybe the easiest thing would be to let her go through that exercise tomorrow and Thursday, and then maybe one vote on Thursday evening.
Yeah, and in fact, the total budget's, the total general government budget does not go up by a huge amount. So I don't think there's a ticking time bomb in there, but that would be all I have for you this evening.
Harry, what does to do mean?
To do means I don't know whether you have actually approved that budget or not. So that's just my little note to myself to force the issue.
Yeah, those pretty much match what we haven't approved.
Right.
And you want us to approve these in one general operating budget vote? Is that?
I think when we come back on Thursday, that's going to make the most sense, because most of these things, have changes in the small number of hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
And if there's anything that's remarkable, I'm sure that we'll let you know about it.
Okay, I'm fine with that. Board fine with that?
Yeah, and can we just clarify so that we hit the ground running on Thursday? The two articles that Justina will help facilitate, is that okay to refer, in other words, get before us? We need to look at those, and then we need to do this. And I would say whatever else we do, I'd like to do those two separate things for, I know it's two articles, but, 2 articles and this first, whatever else we need to do.
The other thing you need to do is to vote on Proposition 2.5 override and Proposition 2.5 debt exclusions.
For the ballot.
For the ballot. You've got to do that Thursday.
Okay, will we get a document to vote on?
I have a draft. Ultimately, it will get worked over by bond counsel, so it might change. But in terms of at least letting you look at the particular borrowings that there would be a debt exclusion associated with, you'll be able to vote on the substance of them, although, they might be edited for conformity with the statute by bond counsel. But I did that document this afternoon.
Thank you.
And I did talk to our financial advisor, Lynn Welsh, and we'll send them to bond counsel tomorrow, and hopefully, and the plan is to have a response for Thursday evening.
So.
Okay.
There you are.
Thank you.
For the debt service questions, do we have anything on the remaining principal of the loans?
Hang on. Appendix B, debt service. I think I have that information. A lot of it's in the, hang on. This is the portion of the capital budget that relates to debt service. And, there's really nothing to talk about here. We're obligated to do these. But I do have an email from the treasurer that I think has a complete schedule.
Okay. I'd like to see that.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Harry. Thank you. So.
Yeah.
Thank you, Harry.
Okay.
And Mike, if I could just ask Carrie one question.
Yep.
It's a very minor matter, but it's important to the rights of the Public Access Committee. Harry, I got an email today from Ms. Woodman, and they were looking for $2,500. Is that embedded in the budget anywhere?
What?
Not currently, no.
What organization is that? Is that a town committee? Is that
the National Research? Hello, you can't even say it out loud. She emailed me and asked for money and asked who she should ask, and I explained to her that this year wasn't really the best of years to be asking for money. but she could certainly lay her claim to you guys and see. It's the Natural Resources Advisory Board.
No, it's
No.
separate from that.
No, it's the Rights of Public Access Committee.
Yeah.
Right, sorry, I get them both
Right to
confused.
public access committee. So I think we would need to know what the funding purpose is before we would be able to approve it, but I don't mind having the request. It's kind of a late hour to,
Well, I guess the question is it something that the town can legally spend money on? I don't know anything about the organization or whether it's
town committee. It's a town committee is what
what
it
it is. Oh, okay.
And they don't have a budget.
Oh,
They don't.
Okay.
Well, I think we need to know what they're using it for.
Oh, yeah.
Can I maybe just, because it's relatively modest, but can I just read what the request indicated? They're looking for $2,500 to use for surveying costs in the future and whatever costs may arise in our efforts to secure public access in Wellfleet.
It's a one-time ask or an annual budget.
You know, my suspicion is it's probably going to have some frequency of over time to it, but I don't know that. So.
Well, they've never really come before us. I don't know if Ryan has any additional information, but I mean, I don't want to vote or recommend anything tonight without, this is the first we've heard of it.
Yeah, I agree. Let's just put this up. If someone wants to come on Thursday and make their case to the board why they need the money, I guess, I don't know. I don't have a problem with that.
All right.
Charlie, I'll send them an email for you.
Yeah, thank you.
okay.
I just didn't wanted to ignore
Yeah.
the request.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm willing to hear it.
yeah. Can I say, Mike?
Yep.
Yeah. So if they want to survey specific spots, I think it would be good to know what those specific spots are.
We're not on the agenda right now, so.
I know, but what we're talking about is hearing from them about it and their ask.
Yes, so we should wait until they're here. I think it's on
Yes,
the agenda or something. I know it's budgetary, but it's kind of a new item
You bet.
in the budget.
On my list, and we'll see what we can find out.
Okay.
Wait, Mike, I just want to throw this out there. Maybe talk to the DPW who may have measurements. Even the police or the fire may have already surveyed, not maybe professionally surveyed them, but have some more information too before we spend money on a surveyor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's just not even discuss that right
Okay.
now. 'Cause it's
All right.
just a rabbit hole at this point.
Can we stop? May we
Yeah.
stop?
Well, the next, I was wondering if we should do the minutes now. We have May 12th on the agenda, but I don't think we did the minutes yesterday, and I don't know what they were.
I don't have a packet with the minutes.
I don't have a
I
packet.
don't have a.
No, because I'm still doing them,
Okay.
so I wanted to get
All
your
right.
motions for the warrant articles correct.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. So let's see. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Adjourn.
Okay, yesterday we didn't vote to end our meeting, so can we move to adjourn last night's meeting also? We just voted.
I
We
think
moved-
I think I
seconded
said
it.
that. I moved to adjourn. I can remember that.
There was some, yeah.
Time for a vote.
But we
didn't
never
vote.
I'm
voted.
going to leave you all now.
Okay,
Go away now, Harry. It's over.
a motion to adjourn.
I so
yesterday.
moved. I moved. Somebody
Okay.
seconded.
All right, second. Roll call vote, please.
Janet, I.
Ryan,
Aye.
Michael, aye.
Helen, I love you all. Go away.
Okay, bye. Environmental permit applications for phase 1 of the Herring River Restoration